Welcome to Double Drivel, an NBA podcast. Hello and welcome to another episode of Double Drivel. We are a weekly podcast offering a fan's perspective on the news and issues surrounding the NBA. Thank you for joining us. My name is Greg and I am joined as always by my co-host JT. You can find us on Twitter at Double Dribblers or email us at doubledrivelpodcast@gmail.com. JT, what up, my friend?
Greg, what's up? Not too much. I am great. How are you?
I am doing good. We got a lot of good stuff tonight. We have a double dribble investigation. We have Lonzo Ball getting a triple-double, and we're going to talk about some teams not reaching their potential, but we're going to start off with Kyrie getting his face smashed. And I'm sure you saw the picture of him getting hit, or the after effect of him getting hit and holding his face. And he took a nasty elbow to the face, and he has a facial fracture. Now, this is not the first time he's had a facial fracture. Have you ever had a facial fracture?
Nah, not me. But no.
No. What about people on your teams? Because I can only think of a few people that this happens to. But if it seems like it's happened to you, like it's happened to LeBron, there's a couple people off the top of my head that I can't think of. But it seems like if it's something that's happened to you, it happens again. And this is the second time for Kyrie. So it's just hard to believe that he could get yet another facial fracture.
I mean, if you want me to open up my Twitter MD, Greg, I will, because
open the medical bag up, JT.
Okay. All right. Well, once your face gets fractured, it must get a little softer, right? And then once you have a soft face, that means you have to wear the mask. You know what I mean?
I think there's plenty of things that are soft about Kyrie. I don't know if it's just his face. But it was a nasty elbow. I mean, it's not like I'm going to call him weak for having his face break. But 2 weeks he has to wear that mask. But people act like it unlocks some sort of superpowers or it unlocks some sort of thing because he had one good game when he was wearing the mask last time. And that's just ridiculous. I mean, it has to hurt. He's got to be in pain. It's got to be annoying. So just to assume that this is going to unlock like some sort of other level is just ridiculous. It's just so stupid.
There's no way that this thing has like performance enhancing qualities to it. No way. But there is a chance that when a player of his caliber puts it on and knows that it's going to be a hindrance to him, that he needs to try that much harder, focus a little bit more entirely. So maybe you get one above average performance game during the time when it's on, but I don't think it has. It doesn't level you up, as the kids would, say with the video games and such.
No, and considering he thinks the Earth is flat, maybe a good shot to the head is something that he needed to, help out in many ways.
Greg, what's up with your voice? You sound like a man today.
I do sound like a man today. I sound like a man because, as I was telling you before we started recording, I used my voice a lot on Tuesday, and I feel like I'm still recovering for some reason from that, and it's gotten progressively worse. Maybe it's the weather. Maybe it was me outside, with the yard work and all that stuff that I freaking hate. But one way or another, it's done terrible things to my voice.
I don't like that you suggest that we talk before this begins. Like, this is all off the cuff.
We just pick up the mic and just go. Yes, we do. However, I do talk to you on occasion, and we did before this, so the point still stands. But I'd like to move to the JT portion of the evening, and that is the what I'm going to call the double drivel investigation. And it is a dive here into someone else's dive. And Dion Waiters took a nasty dive at Rudy Gobert. And I watched the video at first and I said, oh, wow, look at that. He just fell right into his knee. And then I talked to you and you had a different feeling. What was your feeling?
Well, I'm surprised to hear because it seems like you've come around a little bit
I came around a lot a bit after I watched the video a couple more times.
This is a hit job, Greg. This is a hit job by a professional villain, and Rudy was targeted, and he was
That's a bit much.
You shut your mouth right now. Tell me, Curtis.
Please continue.
He was targeted and systematically chosen, perhaps, Greg, on a level we haven't even considered yet. This could go as high as the highest levels, and this was 100% intentional. Dion Waiters took a dive for a loose ball that was going in one direction and ended up changing direction and 100% taking out Rudy's legs. Rudy, they're saying 4 weeks solid. He'll miss now. And that's
I saw
shit.
4 to 6.
Yeah.
So, 4 to 6 weeks is a long time. But, I mean, how do you get a knee bruise from that? I never understand some of these things. I mean, if we're going to go back to our fake medical degrees here.
Fake doctor's my favorite time.
Fake doctor's the best time. How do you get a bruised knee from that? I mean, his knee looked like it bent to the side. Really weird. Like, I don't know. It just seems like a weird, a weird result from that kind of injury. But I will come to Dion Waiters' defense in one small way, because I don't think this is some sort of hit job. I don't think he walked into the stadium thinking, I'm going to take out that that big frog's legs. I'm going. Yeah, no, I think that when he went to dive for the ball, he saw that Rudy was also going for the ball, but Waiters no longer had a chance to get the ball himself. So I think that he dove at Rudy to make sure Rudy could not get the ball. I don't think that it was any sort of malicious intent. I think he just wanted to make sure that Rudy didn't get the ball either. So it was more of like a block at the legs than it was like a take his legs out.
What? A block at the legs rather than
like in football when they block the lineman low or they block somebody low. The running backs got no chance to block a big guy coming at him. So they hit him low.
He's 7 goddamn feet tall.
Yeah, so you got to go low on him. I mean, you're inherently going low, right? I mean, isn't that just the deal? If you're going to be that tall, you're going at a guy, you're going low.
Good Christ.
I don't like that it happened. I'm just trying to help, because I don't know if Waiters is a dirty player. Do you know him to be a dirty player?
I know now that he's a dirty fucking player.
No, come on. That's not how it goes. The guy had one thing where he fell maybe the wrong way, made a bad decision in the moment while he was falling. He didn't just be like, oh shit, and dive at his legs. He was already falling. Yeah. So, yes, they've gotten to me too.
Yep. You fuck.
But what are your prospects of winning without Rudy? The Jazz weren't really killing it with Rudy. What's going to go on now? Who do you have for a center? I saw Favors was playing center.
Yeah. But it turns out this might be a blessing in disguise to give, because Favors just hasn't been popping playing on the wing. When they had him playing center the other night, I guess it was like working out a lot better, and him and Rubio were able to connect on the pick and roll. I guess Favor just is able to take a bounce pass a little bit better than Rudy is. He's not quite as tall. He's a little bit more athletic and strong. He's not as long with the wingspan, so he's not as much as a defensive powerhouse, but he does have a lot of great defensive qualities. So they'll give that a try.
How long until he's injured?
Shut the fuck up. He's not going to get injured.
He's about as durable as a mushroom. Well, I guess that works too, but a marshmallow, I was going to say. So how long until he gets injured? Come on. I say gets injured like something's going to happen. How long until he's not playing because of some lame happened in practice or, just lingering injury that he's going to be out for some time? How long?
You and I, with our own hands, crafted these beautiful giant heads of Favors and Rudy. Do you not remember this?
I do. I remember we went to the Kings Stadium with 2 giant heads for those players.
By your own hands, you speak so poorly of this man after you crafted such a beautiful homage to him.
I just know that every single year the guy gets injured. Like, I know that Rodney Hood doesn't show up in the playoffs. I know that Derek Favors hardly shows up for the regular season.
Rodney Hood's only been to 1 playoffs. I mean, how are you going to judge him? You're so, not to get ahead of ourselves, I mean, you're so patient with Lonzo Ball, and his development is so important to you. But then give Rodney Hood, he gives 1 chance in the playoffs, and you just give my man no credit at all now.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll give a rookie some leeway, but this Lonzo Ball thing, and you know what? I'll use that as a transition right now because I want to talk about Lonzo Ball and this triple-double that he got. Now, all I saw, what it was the other night, while they were playing, actually, the game hadn't even ended. Nobody cared what the score was. They were playing the Bucks. They were losing the game, and the only thing I saw was that Lonzo Ball got a triple-double, and it was like the world stopped. It was the only thing going on. And I guess it's an okay line. It's 19 points, 12 rebounds, 13 assists. Would you be happy with that out of one of your rookies?
Of course.
Yes, me too. But what's your feeling about a triple-double? How important of a stat is that? Is that just a vanity thing, or does that actually mean something?
I have a feeling that it should weigh more heavily if your team wins. You know, so like maybe they call it like a triple-double positive or a triple-double something else. But if you get a triple-double and your team loses, shouldn't that count like doubly against you because fuck you? Like you were shooting for stats and did it to a fault, so your team lost, or like you just don't understand the game well enough.
Yeah, and I always had the feeling that it should at least be 20 points. I know that doesn't really matter in the whole double because it's really just double digits, but 20 points to me, when you have just the teens, that doesn't seem like a huge night for me. It just doesn't. I mean, you could get a triple-double with 10 points. That's not, I mean, you're going to be proud of your game. You got 10 points. I don't care if you got 12 rebounds and 13 assists. You're going to be proud of 10 points.
So you want a 20-point something to activate the triple-double.
Yeah, triple-double, minimal 20 points. It's not a triple-double until you get 20 points.
What if you get 20 rebounds?
Then you have 20 rebounds. I mean, I don't give a shit if you have 20 rebounds. That's not the activator. I think the point's are the activator.
You want 20 points at least.
Yes. Like you need 10 rebounds at least or 10 assists. If you need 10 of something, I think points, you should need 20. It makes it a much better stat.
Perhaps a triple-double prime, Craig. How do you like that?
Yeah, little something. I like the little name.
A little flair at the end.
And I don't even mind if there's a stat that doesn't matter. Like, let's say they got 4 or 5 blocks or something. Toss that on the end. I know it doesn't really matter, but it looks nice. You know, you see that extra little bit. I see they got the triple-double, but I also want to know about the blocks or whatever other steals, whatever it may be. Important to me to know, too.
Yeah. Maybe they could invent, and this would be like for the graphic design side of things for the NBA. You know, like every player has like a particular card, you know, or they have a format or something, and all of these things could be checked off on the card once they hit certain stats and stuff. And like, say for instance, someone hit this triple double like with at least 20 points, and like then this thing turns a different color, or this little check mark or whatever becomes illuminated. But that seems very of the times, right?
Yeah, when we start our fantasy basketball service, we'll have to integrate something like that. How about that?
Sounds good.
All right, so we got a bunch of other good stuff. We'll see you in a sec. Welcome back to Double Drivel. Thank you for joining us. I'm Greg with my co-host JT. You can find us on Twitter at Double Dribblers. All right, JT, there's been a couple teams this year that were supposed to be playing really, really well, that were supposed to be super teams, that are just a little off kilter right now. And one of them is the Thunder. They seem to be losing to any good teams, but they are beating the trash teams for the most part. So they've had good games, like the game that they had against the Timberwolves. It went right down to the buzzer, and it was a great game, but they still lost, and that's happened a lot. And I haven't heard anything about Paul George. What about you?
MVP candidate, Paul George, Greg?
Oh, you beat me to it. I was going to say, and this was going to be his MVP year. He had put that out there. This is it. MVP year, baby. And he is a ghost.
Nothing. I mean, there's nothing there. The Thunder, they're 6-7. They have the same record as the Jazz. And that, I mean...
And we know they're nowhere.
Oh, breaks my heart to like...
God, shots fired. I'm sorry.
I know. So, who's running this? Who's running this team, the Thunder? I mean, Westbrook just seems to be doing his style, and there's not much else going on, right? Like he's getting his shots, and Paul George nowhere to be seen. Melo's
getting his shots too, though.
He's getting some. It's hard to say. It's hard to see this team placing higher than 7th or 8th in the playoffs, right?
Have you seen Enes Kanter playing pretty well in New York?
Yeah, well, New York's fucking put four in a row. Good for them.
Yep. So, I mean, but that's a risk. I mean, it is still early in the year. They can get it going. I'm sure, they have professionals there. They have coaches. And eventually, they'll all get it together. But the Cavs are having a kind of opposite problem. They are losing to really trash teams, but it seems to be when they want to get it together, they seem to be able to win. Like they beat the Celtics. They only one of the 2 losses the Celtics have this year. They beat the Wizards, and they've beaten the Bucks twice. So when they need to beat somebody, they seem to be. But they have lost some bad teams. They lost to the Pelicans. They lost to the Hawks. And the aforementioned Knicks, they also lost to. So, yeah, that's not a great list of teams. So, what's your feeling on the Cavs?
They need Isaiah Thomas. They need him to get better, man. They need that point guard presence. They just don't really have it, and
they got D Rose, baby.
Oh, good grief with this guy,
the porcelain point guard.
LeBron still fucking put up big numbers the other night and looks strong and competitive, and you can't help but think that they're going to pull something together and they're going to be where they need to be come time to place accordingly in the playoffs. But yeah, not what we thought so far, but I mean, Isaiah Thomas, that's a huge asset, just that's not being used right now.
No, and he'll definitely help LeBron out because that guy wants to take shots. I see a lot of reluctance on the Cavs to take the shot, or they all look to LeBron. I mean, he's going to get his points, he's going to get his touches, but he's an unselfish player, and no one else wants to step up and be the man with him, which is sad because there's a lot of great players on that team, and Kevin Love still not reaching his potential. I can't understand what the attraction to that guy is.
K-Love? You got no love?
I got very little love for K-Love. Very little love.
Yeah. I'm hot and cold with him. He seems to be able to put up decent numbers on occasion, but maybe too much of a guy of the system, not that Cavs system with LeBron. I mean, where do you see Kevin Love if he wasn't on the Cavs, and what kind of player would he be in that system? It seems like this is okay for him.
Remember when he was on the Timberwolves and he got good numbers, but they never won?
Yeah.
I mean,
It's too soon to call it in on the Cavs. I mean, let's see what happens when IT gets back.
And another team that, in another direction, just wasn't all that great to begin with, and I guess people kind of expect more from them, is the Pelicans. And they have Anthony Davis, and they have Boogie Cousins, and that's about it. But those are two really good players, and those guys get huge numbers every night. I mean, Boogie's getting 35 points every single time I look. Anthony Davis, when he plays, is always getting good points. But they're a 500 team. So what's the deal? What's the deal with the Pelicans? Are they just damned to this position? Are they going to get more players? I mean, obviously they have to if they want to do something, but what is a team like the Pelicans to do?
I don't know how effective it is to have two dominant big men anymore.
They called them Twin Towers when we were little, you know,
Who's the first Twin Towers you remember?
I remember on the Hawks, it was, God, what was his name? Willis? Yeah, I remember Willis.
Kevin Willis.
Was it Dominique? I mean, Dominique wasn't that big, though, but I definitely remember Kevin Willis and someone. So maybe I'm misremembering, but who do you remember? Besides
Dominique.
the Admiral and, Timmy.
Admiral and Timmy was the one I was going to pick. Totally. That was my two. You snake.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there was another, less accomplished Twin Towers before that, but could be wrong.
I don't know how effective it is. I don't know if it's more like a mental thing, like players just, if they are that big man who gets high numbers, they are in the mindset that's not to be shared in any way. I don't know. It's a funny thing, but as far as the Pelicans go, I don't know. I don't see them being effective long term, is what I'm saying.
No, I don't think so either. I just don't think they're set up for it. I don't think the rest of the players on the team can handle it. But like I said, those guys do get great numbers, and maybe on the right team, they could actually do something with that output. But it is doing nothing there.
Both more than deserving of having entire teams built around them. So it's hard to see them gelling so well together. But they totally could figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, that was damn from the start, though. I mean, who expected that to even happen?
I hear you. Yeah.
So, all right, it is time for my favorite time, and I know yours too. We're going to do some predictions. All right. What do you have for a prediction? I hope it's one for me this week.
So, not having to do with anything, Greg, how many steals do you think Lonzo Ball will average this season?
Not the best defender. If he has 3, I will be shocked. But I mean, I'm thinking it's more around 2.
And his little brother?
Hi-yo! Boom! No, hold on. Oh, I even had the rim shot on hand for you there. Boom, baby. Oh, that's gold. I love that. Did you see Bill Walton the other night on the telecast for the UCLA game? Apologized to the whole of humanity for the Ball family. So, and what had gone on. So that was really great. I like that a lot.
Bill Walton used to drive me nuts. Listen to him call the Jazz Bulls games when the Jazz were in the finals in the late 90s. But yeah, I did hear that he said that, and it almost redeems him for some of the less than favorable telecasts that I remember from time to time.
People love him now. He's like a national treasure.
What's up with that? I don't.
Was
get
he
that.
like that? I was unaware that he called the games that you listened to and that you had a history. Please, give me a little bit.
Greg, I will date back to my America Online customized homepage, which included a section that was called Lamer of the Month, in which Bill Walton had won said award twice, 2 times, Greg, in a row. Unprecedented streak for the Trunk House AOL member homepage Lamer of the Month award. Yeah.
Wow.
He gave us less than favorable calls, I felt, time to time. during that era of terrific basketball.
Yeah, now he just does the college games and just kind of goes on rants, and everyone loves it. I mean, the guy just talks about the Grateful Dead and all sorts of shit and just goes on, and the people cannot get enough. And did he go off on tangents like that when you were listening?
I was younger. I was a younger man then. I do remember him going off frequently, but maybe not as in depth as from what I understand he's doing now.
That's great. Love that. That's good stuff right there. And we have something that we can refer to as real-time follow-up, I guess, because the game is going on as we're recording. We had shit on Paul George earlier, and he must have heard us because he's having a hell of a game, isn't he, JT?
Yep. 37 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. Just straight serving them up crooked. They're playing the Mavericks right now, Greg, and it's just filth. Straight filth.
So that does go along with what we were saying earlier, how they are beating the crappy teams and losing potentially to the good teams, because the Mavericks are not a good team. The Mavericks are absolute trash. Absolute trash.
Yep, not a good team. But winning the games they should.
There you go. All right, JT. Another great episode. How do you feel?
Feeling great, Greg. We're coming back tomorrow with a guest. That's going to be pretty sweet.
Yeah, we have a very special guest, and he's now going to get an episode all to himself. He's not going to have to share anything, and we're going to ask him a couple extra questions just because of that. So very excited for that. So in the meantime, you can follow us on Twitter at Double Dribblers, or you can email us at doubledrivelpodcast@gmail.com. Subscribe to the show on iTunes, Podbean, or Google Play. And until next week, we'll see you on the internet.